Welcome to Escape Purgatory, a podcast where we rewatch Supernatural, then talk it through in the hopes that we can finally escape this show.
Join us each week, leave comments on upcoming episodes, and together we can escape Supernatural Purgatory.
Hello!
Hi!
We have come out to not spoilers, fillers. I say spoilers because we were talking about the Winchesters before, which I'm not caught up on. So I was like, I went spoilers instead of fillers, but whatever.
There's so much to talk about on the Winchesters. Like, it's definitely going to come up. Like, once you've watched it, it's definitely going to come up in some future episodes.
And we never got escaping the Winchesters off the ground, but that's partially my fault.
It's mostly my fault, but yeah, you can take the blame if you want, Annabelle. It's 100% my fault.
It was a collective. It just is. Maybe we do like a season recap, like we would for this.
I actually think that's not a bad idea. I think we should do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anyway, back to Supernatural, because that's what this one's all about.
Yeah.
We are on season 5, episode 8, Changing Channels.
Ooh.
Probably one of the more famous episodes of the entire series, I would say. If anybody has introduced Supernatural to somebody else, this is one of the episodes that's usually shown.
Which is kind of like, why though? Like, I know why, because I've done it. Because it's like, this is how good the show can be. Like, look how out of the box it is. Mm-hmm. But also, like, this is the first episode of Supernatural you've ever watched, which for some people it is. Like, it has zero context.
Zero. Absolutely nothing to do with anything. Like, you can, the thing that would probably draw someone in, though, is that, like, the last scene, when they're outside of the TV, like, how well everybody acts in that. I mean, you don't know who anybody is, but, like, just the conviction of everybody in that scene just would make you want to go back and watch everything else, surely. Yeah,
like, why does everyone care so much? Why is everyone crying?
So yeah, I mean, I'll give it to Jeremy Carver on this one. He did a good job. Like, there was no inappropriate underage sex jokes. I know the bar is set pretty low, but
it's really low. Yeah.
But, like, you know, the handling of, like, the family drama is actually done really well in this one.
I agree. I don't know why, I'm always surprised this isn't a Ben Edlund episode. Like, it feels like an Edlund episode to me in my heart.
It does, but the thing is the prediction is wrong. So if the prediction was correct, then I would say it. And I'll tell you what, I'll say what I mean by that when we get to that. It's at the very end of the episode. I don't want to say anything about it right now.
I mean, I think at the beginning of the episode, I do have to shout out to the absolute, like, held this episode together, everything, and that is whatever box they got Richard Spike Jr. to stand on.
Yes, that is the MVP of this episode. I think it's the Dr. Sexy scene. Yeah. It's just like, you can see that. Oh, that's great. It was great.
I'm so sorry if, like, Richard Evelyn, he manages this, it's fine. Why am I worried? But yeah, he is not a tall man, and they've made him look a lot taller than he is in this episode.
They absolutely did. That's kind of a convention question, isn't it? Like, what happened to the box that you're standing on?
Yeah. Did you wear the tall shoes? Was it just lifts, or was it an actual apple box? Like, what happened here?
Right, like, why did you not wear the cowboy boots with the heel? So I watched the episode to make notes for this for this episode, and we couldn't record at that time, so we've come back to it, and so I rewatched the episode again, and now that I know that the cowboy boots were important, like the scene where he puts his foot up onto the the side of the lift, just suddenly becomes way more like important.
Right, yeah, you're right. That's so true. I never realised that before. You're right. Yeah, Dr. Sexy was signalling his cowboy boots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's amazing. Something new every time.
Every time. Like you can watch that episode and catch different things each time. And on that note, I suppose we should get in before I spoil any more at the very beginning of this episode. So we have the recap, and it's basically the reveal of the vessels for Sam and Dean. There's a little bit of Sam letting Lucifer out, blah blah blah, the same kind of stuff. Then it comes back to Mystery Spot and seeing Dean die multiple times.
Yeah.
And also Tall Tales with the introduction to the Trickster.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to Mystery Spot after Sam's been on his like John arc and the Trickster saying, Dean is your weakness. The bad guys know it too. It's going to be the death of you, Sam.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
And then it opens with a motel room, but it's like highly saturated. It's got like so it doesn't sound like Dean or Jensen with the voiceover that's saying Supernatural is filmed in front of a live studio audience. It's such a TV voice.
Yeah, he does a good job of changing his voice for that. Because I knew it was him. Like you can tell. But yeah,
you can tell if you're Amy.
Yeah, you can tell. But yeah, you're right. It's completely different. I thought that was quite good.
We see Dean and he's at a fridge and he's turns around and there's a massive sandwich and he's like, oh, I'm gonna need a bigger mouth. And as this was happening, I was like, Jensen's actually acted in front of a live studio audience because of Days of Our Lives.
Yes, that's true.
But I don't think Jared ever has. I don't know if he's been on like that kind of TV show before.
I don't know. I mean, I guess they're both they've all done stuff in front of audiences, so I'm sure it's yeah. What I think about this whole like bit is that I don't know why I thought this, but Dean always leans into it more than Sam does. And I don't know if that's just their acting. I don't think that's Jensen and Jared's acting in this, but throughout the shows, apart from the CSI one, I'll say that, I think
was because Dean lives by the TV. So he knows how each of these characters are supposed to act. So he that's why with the CSI stuff, he's like, I hate this kind of show, so I'm not going to enjoy being in this kind of show. Yeah,
that's so true. And like we could even go even like deeper and say like Dean's whole life is a performance, so this is nothing new.
There is that too, yeah. So Sam comes in and there's an applaud track and a laugh track, but they are talking to as if there's like an audience actually there.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that like Gabriel actually put people there.
I think there definitely is a fourth wall there of people. Yeah, I think so.
And they're having a little bit of back and forth, and Sam's like, "Oh, this, just the end of the world, nothing much." And he's asking if he's done the research yet. And Dean looks embarrassed and says, haha, yeah, all kinds of research. And then the bathroom door opens and there's this lady in a bikini.
Dean. Son of a bitch.
I love that because it kind of like cements it as like Dean's catchphrase. Because like he says it to the camera like a catch. Yeah, this just does it for me. I just like it so much.
And then we go into an amazing title sequence. I'm kind of I don't even know how to explain this opening sequence, and I don't feel like I could ever do it justice. No. So I would recommend to go watch it. But But I guess we can read some of the lyrics out because they are kind of important, because it says town to town, 2-lane road, family biz, 2 hunting bros. I am surprised at how much Sam is into this title sequence.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And then so the song goes, living a lie just to get by.
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah. And the freeze frames to say Jared Padalecki is Sam Winchester.
Mm-hmm.
How cool would have this been?
Yeah.
If they did a callback to this into the French Mistake.
Right, yeah.
In French Mistake it says, and I'm a Jared Padalecki.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, that was the name that came up on screen.
Right, yeah, like they can see the title credits. Yeah. That would have been quite fun actually. I agree, yeah.
After it says living a lie just to get by, it says as long as we're moving forward, the next line is, there's nothing we can't do, together we'll face the day. You and I won't run away. Such poetry. When the demons come out to play, together we'll face the day.
Yeah. I can actually hear the music. I can't remember. It's like I'm sure it goes like that.
Yeah. And so yeah, it was an interesting idea, and I kind of love it, and I wish that they had taken the actual supernatural like sound, they have the like ending song of the credits, like turning that into the theme song.
Yeah, like change the key. Yeah. What's always made me like, it's quite funny about this is like you can tell where they film some of these bits. So like, when they're like riding that like bicycle and they're throwing like a football to each other and stuff. Like it's playing in the same park. They do the herpes like commercial. Yes. And so it's just like, it's like they're in
the same outfit.
Yeah.
They're in the
That's true. You're right. No, you're right. Oh.
Gabriel really doesn't like Sam, does he?
No, I don't know what it is. Like he's fully out to get him. Like he gets definitely the short end. Yeah. Or the long end of the stick, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah. A little bit of both, maybe.
Which, yeah, that's why I can't remember why he has it out for stuff. There's a reason. Do you think it's because of Mystery Spot? Because he really didn't play his game in Mystery Spot very well. I mean, he learned the lesson.
Yeah. I'm wondering if it's because he seems at the end of this he's really resentful that Lucifer's out of his cage.
Yeah.
And it was
Sam who did that.
Sam that did that.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's the reason. No, you're right. It definitely is that. Yeah.
Because he's truly he's afraid of Lucifer.
Yeah.
He's not afraid of the other archangels. He's afraid of Lucifer for sure.
So we get on screen. It says they're in Wellington, Ohio, and it says 2 days earlier. But we're in our hospital. The thing is, right? I've watched Grey's Anatomy like recently, like all of it, and this is so spot on. It's like frighteningly spot on.
Did anyone aside from Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Missouri, did anyone else jump ship to Grey's Anatomy? Like, did any writers leave to work on there?
I don't think so. I think the kind of obsession with it is that it was on at the same time Supernatural aired. So they're like on competing channels. There are quite a few Supernatural cameos in Grey's Anatomy. Because it's been on so long, like there's only so many actors and like there was a storyline with Jake Abel. He was definitely on Grey's. I feel like the guy who played Zachariah, like basically like it's like a who's who. Like you would you're definitely gonna recognize some of them. So they start off in a lift, which again is really funny because in the first few seasons of Grey's, if you've never watched it, all of the drama goes down in lifts. Like they literally have like, they have all their emotional conversation in lifts, like they pull the emergency like alarm bells to like make out and stuff.
So what you're saying is that Lift is like the Impala.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's exactly like that. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, we see like this man and this who is a doctor because he's wearing a white coat, so he must be a doctor, and a woman in scrubs. So I think they're supposed to be. So Dr. Sexy must be the equivalent of You've never watched Grey's, have you?
I have not, so I have no idea. I'm just enjoying the description.
So it must be, is it Patrick Dempsey's character? And they all refer to him as McSexy because he's got the hair. And so the woman, Dr. Palmer in Scrubs, must be Grey, right? The intern, who they have like a wild affair. But to be fair, like Dr. Shepherd in Grey's doesn't wear cowboy boots at all. There's no motor cap. The cowboy boots is a completely supernatural made up thing. Put there for, I guess, just so Dean can really enjoy Dr. Sexy. Yeah. So it kind of like, it zooms out of this scene on the TV as they're like making out in this like lift, and as you said, like he puts his leg up and you can see his cowboy boots, and Dean is like watching the TV like utterly
enraptured,
engrossed. I love that. And it's the same motel room as the one from the like start of this episode, but it's dingy and grey and it has the supernatural filter on it. So I mean, I'm not the first person to point this out, but it does drive me absolutely wild that when this pulls out, like it's obviously recognizably like supernatural, like we're back to normal because it is grey and like blue tinged. But the scene on the TV, like when they're in the sitcom, that like high saturation color is exactly how the show looks after past like season
7.
7, yeah, season 7.
It's like, I tell you what it is, what happened. The Leviathan, because you know that the black goo, they basically absorbed all the grime into themselves when they got sent back to Purgatory.
I mean, it's just like, the thing is that you look at this episode and then you look at like, I don't know, the end seasons and you're like, they were like it.
The commentary you're making in this episode kind of becomes true.
Yeah, right. It all becomes true. Like you are like not if not a TV show, you're a product that's being consumed by someone, and that person is God, I guess. Like, you know, it's
yeah. Okay, so you saying that, I think back to at the end of season 15 where Chuck is in the like Best Buy TV circuit thing and he's got all those screens on. Yeah. Dang.
It's that. Yeah, it's them. They became the show.
I'll tell you what it is. He was sat there watching all these screens. It's like, I can't see a goddamn thing. I need to turn the brightness up.
You're so right. It was Chuck. Oh goddamn! Yeah, I mean, yeah. People have made the comparison before, but it's just one of those things that makes Supernatural such a unique TV show. That the fact that it ran so long, that the jokes they made at the beginning become like truth. That's like part of the integrity of the show. By the end of it, it's crazy, and I love it, and I also kind of hate it. Because it's also pretty lazy. And that sounds really awful, but they didn't keep the look of the show. Obviously, they eventually stopped filming it on film, right? Because we know the first few seasons were done on, like, actual camera film. And so they must have taken the switch at some point to digital, which likely because it's cheaper. And that's why you get this, like, oversaturated version of Supernatural. I just feel like it's a shame that they didn't, like, I guess, care enough to keep the continuity of it looking like dark and gritty and like a horror film. Yeah.
And also, you know, with the departure of Eric Kripke, who had that vision for it to be like a horror film on each episode.
Yeah.
Like, it does turn into just a regular show. Mm-hmm. And what makes it worse of that, you know, to your point of it being lazy, is that it does eventually become that they are in one spot. Yeah. They have the bunker. Mm-hmm. So why? I know that they had some aesthetic in there, like the grout was kind of dirty and stuff, but like to see it in that sort of blue tinge, or make the comparison of like the bunker is home, so it's warm.
Yeah.
But then when they go out, it becomes the horrible, like, dreary world. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it would have been a lot easier to do than on film, surely.
Like, surely, yeah. They could have just added like a filter, right? It always makes me think of the Superman movie, the Henry Cavill one, where like someone took the filter off, and you're like, "Wow, this is such a nice bright movie," and then they just added something grey to it.
They turned up that it's like a high pass filter.
Yeah.
So everything gets like super gritty and like you can see those textures and stuff.
But it also takes away like the contextual, like, because we've said that, you know, orange is for dreams and for heaven, like that color. And then eventually that doesn't happen anymore. And heaven and other places just look like Earth, right? The lighting doesn't change anymore, right? Same with hell. Think how... I still can't think about laughing. The time they go to hell to like... Is it to see Rowena? Is that what they're doing? I can't remember. I think that's why. Is that why? No. They go to hell for a reason, and it looks so crap.
It does. It looks like 2003 TV set. Like you can see the set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah.
I will maintain that the best early 2000s TV show for sets and stuff was Farscape. If anyone hasn't ever watched it, go back, because it's an absolute masterclass in not using CGI and anything, and like, and they are all in like one set, and they just use the same set for everything. Like, you know, they are doing that because it was so cheap. They literally just have like a spray painted that show. Like they had like an injector thing, like on Star Trek, you know, just inject people with like, and it goes like. It's just some spray painted like scientific equipment, but it looks awesome. Like, but what I'm saying is, they had like a no budget on Farscape. Like, you can do it and make it look good. And there are like that when they did go was it looked like a TV set, and I feel like that's unforgivable.
Yeah, they really did get lazy in season 15.
Yeah. For real.
I mean, they got lazier and lazier, but like season 15 was incredibly lazy, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, that was kind of that was a massive tangent rant about like some lighting, but I mean, it's
important.
It's important, and because they use it here to show the difference between the TV world and the real world. Mm-hmm. And you can instantly tell the difference. If they had done this episode, if they'd done the multiverse episode that they wanted to do in season 15, I don't know how well it would have worked, because they wouldn't have been able to do it like this.
No. Yeah. It would have literally just been like them in different clothes.
Right.
And that would have been it.
Exactly.
And do you know what's really annoying though? It's like you know that they can do it because they had Apocalypse World. Look at Apocalypse World.
Yeah, and Purgatory. Looks completely different. Like the lighting in that is like all grey washed out. It's annoys me because they actually did have people who'd worked like right from the beginning of the show. Like they have that knowledge. They know how to do it. It is frustrating.
Yeah.
That's a big old rant. So yeah, we go back to the real world. We see that it's dark and gritty, and they're in this motel room, and it's dirty and gross. And Sam comes in and is like, "What are you watching?" to Dean. And what's amazing is that he doesn't really stop watching. He's just like, "I'm watching a hospital show. It's Dr. Sexy MD." I think it's based on a book. It's Grey's Anatomy is based on, well,
Grey's Anatomy is a book.
Is a book, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Is an actual medical book, and then they made a show by the same name to be clever.
Yeah.
When did you hit menopause?
Rude, first of all.
Right?
Yeah. I enjoyed TV dramas. And like, also, why? Why is that a problem? Anyway, so Dean's like, it's called channel surfing, and he like turns to the TV, and they get ready to go out. Like Dean's like, you ready? And Sam's like, are you? Like clearly they're in the middle of a case because they're wearing suit jackets. So they go to the police station as the FBI, and they're investigating this guy called Bill Randolph who got his head ripped off, and they're saying that it was a bear, and they're like, we don't think it's a bear. That's essentially what's going on here. So like, because the policeman's having some kind of like cognitive dissonance about what a bear can do, because things like, so the bear chased him through the woods, smashed through his front door, followed him up the stairs, and then killed him in his bedroom. And things like, is that common, a bear doing that? And the policeman says, depends how pissed off the bear is. So they ask about his wife.
Kathy Randolph went through a hell of a trauma. She's confused.
So they go and interview her, and she's adamant that it must have been a bear, but she's looking like, I don't think it was a bear.
Yeah, right. Kind of like the definition of gaslighting. Everybody telling her it's a bear, so she's agreeing that it's a bear.
Yeah, it's like, well, it must have been a bear. Everyone's saying it's a bear. And so, you know, they do their whole thing of like, no, come on, you can tell us anything. We believe you. And eventually she admits that she saw the Incredible Hulk. And Sam's like, what? I love this line because it says,
Banner or Norton?
Oh no, those movies were terrible. The TV Hulk.
Lou Ferrigno.
Yes.
Spiky hair Lou Ferrigno.
Yes.
and yeah, Sam and Dean kind of look at each other, but like, to be fair, in the scheme of things, like, this is not the craziest thing they've ever come up against, you know, so Dean does ask if there was a reason that the Incredible Hulk could have a grudge against her husband. And they just look at each other like, no.
Of course not. That wouldn't make any sense, now would it? Yeah, I love the fact that he took that and like went with it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, like they've seen wilder things. It's fine. You know, that teddy bear, that was a whole thing.
True. I forget about that teddy bear.
Oh, please forget about the teddy bear. It was awful. So they go back to the motel and they're doing their research, and they didn't find anything, but Sam said he saw the house, and he said there's like an 8-foot wide hole where the front door used to be, and there's like a Hulk-sized hole. What would have been funnier here is if it had been like a Hulk-shaped hole, and like he showed in the picture. So like all the ideas of these guys saying it's a bear attack is like even more ridiculous, I feel.
Yeah, definitely.
But Dean has found out that like this guy who got killed had quite the temper. Like he had like domestic abuse charges and things as well. So he's not a great guy. And essentially like he was an angry person getting killed by an angry TV character. And Sam's like, oh, it makes sense. They worked this out so quickly. Like, I know they want to get to the name of the episode, but like, it's kind of ridiculous because Sam's like, oh, I found some like candy bar wrappers. And so, you know, just desserts, sweet tooth, screwing with people before you kill them. We're dealing with the trickster, aren't we? And it's like, oh yeah, of course.
This is their third encounter with him, though.
It is, yeah. So I guess it's fine, kind of fine.
My question.
Yes.
How have they not realized that this trickster is not really a trickster or like stronger than usual? Because this is the third. They've stabbed him twice.
I guess maybe they think like the law is off, but then also like, why'd they try it a third time? Like,
they do it 4 times.
Yeah. Right?
No.
I mean, Dean says, good. I wanted to gank that mother since Mystery Spot, but like, he shouldn't have any recollection of anything that happened to him at Mystery Spot.
I guess it's the principle of it, though, right?
True, yeah.
Someone's killed you 1,000 times. Like, yeah, I would want revenge too, even if I am still alive at this point.
Yeah, fine. I still maintain Sam never told him about his whole John Winchester killing spree. Right?
Oh, yeah, no.
No.
Mm-mm.
You know, Dean obviously wants to kill him. Sam's like, oh, well, you know, maybe actually we should talk to him instead. Because although he does kill people, I mean, the Trickster just killed this guy as the Incredible Hulk or manifested the Incredible Hulk, whatever. Mm-hmm. He is very powerful and also seems relatively harmless, if that makes sense. Like, he only seems to mess with people who he sees as deserving to get messed with, whether they are or not is, you know.
Okay, Trickster's like a Hugh Hefner type, right? Wine, women, song. Maybe he doesn't want the party to end. I mean, maybe he hates this angels and demons stuff as much as we do. Maybe he'll help us.
And I agree with Sam. Like, it seems like a good idea.
Yeah.
Why not? Like, yeah, he's really powerful. Dean says, a bloody violent monster and you want to be Facebook friends with him? Nice, Sammy. That's not gonna age well.
Yeah, no. I think they've had a MySpace and now a Facebook joke.
Yeah. Again, it's weird because we just go into more and more modern technology and like it's weird watching them use smartphones later on. So they're talking about like how we're gonna find him, and you know, Sam's just saying like, oh, he never takes one victim, he'll show. There's like a little montage of Dean sharpening a wooden stake and Sam's like sitting and listening to a police scanner. And eventually something comes through that says they've got a 187 out on Old Paper Mill Road, like Route 6 or whatever. And the policeman on the scanner is saying like, I can't believe what I'm seeing. And they decide that it sounds weird enough that they're going to go check this out. Mm-hmm. So they get to this abandoned warehouse. We should have been there first, clue.
Yes.
And also there's like no one there. Mm-hmm. Like what? Okay, what? No. This is obviously a trap. Like from the moment they pulled up, this was obviously a trap.
And even when Dean points it out, and but they don't call it a trap. They're just like, it's weird.
Yeah, it's like, okay, but it's obviously a trap.
They literally said, send everybody. This might be a small town, but there's probably more than one police officer.
Yeah, there would be some cars. Like, there'd be something. So they take out the stakes that they made. I presume they got, because they have to take blood. The lore for this is they have to take blood from one of the victims, right? So they would have had to go get blood from this guy who got his head chopped. Like, yeah, they didn't bother showing any of that, but I guess it's just known. So as they walk in through the warehouse door, there's like an instant switch, and they have walked straight into like the hospital corridor, and they're wearing white lab coats. And they're like, what's going on? There's like a typical Grey's Anatomy like music in this. Mm-hmm. The really famous one, I think, from Grey's Anatomy is they played like chasing cars during like a sad scene. I think that's like one of the most well known. But
yeah, I feel bad that I don't. So I feel bad that I don't know all these Grey's sort of references. Mm-hmm. But it also has like the feel of like General Hospital, which is a daytime like a daytime hospital show. Which I feel like that was what they were kind of also going for as well with this.
I think so, yeah.
So it's almost like, because there was never any sort of daytime TV show of Supernatural, so they couldn't, like, there's no way to poke fun of them with that. So I think this is what they're doing. They're like, haha, you're no better than a daytime TV show.
I mean, yeah. Yeah, they said like some doctors walk past them and they're like, doctor. That's not so. I don't think that's so much a Grey's thing. I think that is more like General Hospital, because I don't remember them doing that in Grey's very much. Mm-hmm. And like Dean looks back and like opens up the door they just came through, but it's like a cupboard now. Mm-hmm. But there's like a man and a lady like making out in it, which does happen a lot in Grey's. In the supply like closet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It also reminds me of Scrubs. Like, I watched Scrubs more than I did any other hospital show.
I mean, that was totally taking the like mick out of these kinds of shows, right? As well, so yeah, that kind of works. And then like a brunette doctor walks up and like she like slaps Sam around the face, and she just goes like, seriously. Again, the seriously thing is a Grey's thing. They say it all the time. Like, seriously? Can't believe this happened. Like, seriously? Yeah, it is really like that. And this kind of conversation as well is very much the kind of conversation we have. It's like, you're brilliant, you know that, and a coward. You're a brilliant coward. And Sam's just like, what? And she slaps him again, and she's like, as if you didn't know, and like walks off. And Dean's just like in awe. He's like, that was Dr. Piccolo.
This entire first scene is like exactly how all of us would have acted if like we got face to face. Like, yeah.
If we were in Supernatural, we're like, that's Dean Winchester. So he describes her as the sexy yet earnest doctor and then he finds the sign. It's like Seattle Mercy Hospital. I think the original name of the Grey's Anatomy Hospital, because it did change later on for reasons. There was a plane crash.
I love this like mini breakdown of Grey's Anatomy. I'm learning so much.
It was called Seattle Grace. I think that's what it was called. So yeah.
The doctor get-ups, the sexy interns, the seriouslys. It all makes sense. What makes sense? What's going on? We're in Dr. Sexy MD.
Dean is so excited. He's so excited. Yeah.
I mean, to be in any show, I feel like being in a hospital show is probably like your safest bet. Like,
not in Grey's. Oh no.
I'm talking in like, you know, you're going to be in medical situations, whereas if you got dropped into Supernatural, like, what the hell are you supposed to do? Or if you got dropped into like The Walking Dead, like, what the hell?
That's true. At least there are doctors I'm thinking like might survive. I mean, that's kind of, I guess, also what happens here.
Right, exactly. I don't know. Of all the shows, I think I'd prefer to end up in a hospital than anywhere else.
Yeah, because for day one, you quit that hospital because everyone who works there dies.
Yeah, right, exactly. And you're out scot-free. Dean is basically using his catchphrase and being like, what the hell?
Yeah, right.
As they're walking through the corridors of this hospital. And like Dean's like, do you have any theories? Anything at all? And Sam's like, well, the tricks have trapped us in TV land. And Dean's like, that's your theory? That's stupid. And so I was like, well, you're the one who said we're on Dr. Sexy MD. Like,
yeah.
But he's like, yeah, but it's TV land, it's TV land. It doesn't, there's actors, there's lights, there's crew, you know, this looks real. And so Dr. Wang walks by and says, doctors. And Dean's just going through the description saying, Dr. Wang, the sexy but arrogant heart surgeon.
That's true. Dr. Yang in Grey's is sexy yet arrogant.
And he's like, oh, and there's Johnny Drake. He's not even alive. He's a ghost of the mind of...
Okay, this bit is funny. I don't know if you... Again, I love explaining Grey's too. It's great.
Just assume I have not seen anything, because I have not seen anything. So please, explain away.
So Johnny Drake is supposed to be the character that Jeffrey Dean Morgan left Supernatural to go and play on Grey's.
Nice.
And the doctor that's sitting next to him, I can't remember everyone's names. Izzy. She's Izzy, right? And she falls in love with this patient, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. He has a heart condition, and eventually he dies. They do like some shady stuff to try and keep him alive, and eventually he dies. But then she keeps seeing him as a ghost. So like Jeffrey Dean Morgan just like will randomly be in an episode and like, I'm a ghost now. Ultimately, this is like massive Grey's spoilers, by the way. We should probably put a thing on this. But it turns out like the ghost is actually like a brain tumor. But then she's fine, so it's all right. Yeah. So, but like, is the afterlife real on Grey's Anatomy? Because it sure seems like it. Because sometimes when they die, the doctors go there and talk to people from their past. So...
I cannot say.
I think there are ghosts in Grey's Anatomy, and I feel like Jeffrey Dean Morgan played one. His name was Denny.
This show has ghosts? Why?
I don't know. It is compelling.
Dean tries to deny that he's a fan of this show, but like Dean, it's fine.
Yeah.
He eventually says it's his guilty pleasure, so that's, you know, fair. And then the best moment of this entire episode, because Dr. Sexy himself comes around the corner and Dean gets incredibly shy and just like, I do wonder if they've ever actually had a moment like this in real life. Like,
that's a convention question.
Like that, because that reaction is the reaction that I know I had when I went to go to have my picture taken with Jensen. Like, you can't look at the person really, you just sort of like just look, you look everywhere but them.
Yeah, it's so true. This was such a choice. That's all I can say about it.
So, yes and no, because like, it's Dr. Sexy for a reason, right? So he's got to be an attractive person.
Yeah.
Men can be attracted to other men without it being gay.
Yes, they can. They definitely can.
I know it doesn't help with the CL, but and we haven't mentioned it in a while.
The thing is, though, I guess what's funny about this is like, yeah, you're right, but also like, this is Dean, like, you know, macho Dean. Which is why this is played like this. That like I get that's why this is funny, because he's so like, I'm very macho. I like girls and beer and fast cars, and I have a crush on a TV doctor. You know. Oh. Also, I love that this is the defining moment of Dean's definite cowboy fetish that he has, which is played on like in later episodes too.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Because as Dr. Palmer is asking him why he defied his order to do the experimental transplant surgery, Dean goes from sort of being in awe to being confused. Mm-hmm. And he's like, one reason? And he says, sure. And then he like pushes the guy against like the wall that he stood next to. Mm-hmm. And it's like...
Because I swore part of what makes Dr. Sexy sexy is the fact that he wears cowboy boots, not tennis shoes.
Yeah. You got a thing for cowboys there, Deanie boy.
He definitely does.
And then the doctor transforms into the trickster, and this is the MVP moment, because he is the same height. But then as it cuts back and forth in this next conversation, like when it's from Dean's over shoulder, mm-hmm. they're the same height.
Yeah.
But then when it pulls back, he's no longer on the box for some reason. Like, what happened?
Because I needed to show the tennis shoes.
Oh.
So like, yeah, that they had to do like a full body shot. Yeah, it's a
choice. It's definitely a choice. So the trickster congratulates them that, you know, they're starting to pick up on his tricks, and like, you know, he's like, well, with you two in town, you know, I couldn't help, I had to come mess with you. Mm-hmm. And he's like, are you impressed with all this work that I've done? He calls it my own little idiot box. They're trying to, you know, obviously find a way out of this because they don't want to be stuck in this TV. And he makes them an offer saying, you know, survive the next 24 hours and then we'll talk.
Survive what? The game. What game?
You're in it.
How do we play?
You're playing it.
What are the rules?
And then he just disappears. Mm-hmm. And then he says his catchphrase, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. And because the trickster vanished and everybody's looking for the doctor, mm-hmm. Dr. Sexy, Dr. Piccolo comes back around the corner and tries to go for Sam again. It's basically reset the scene. I think that's what's supposed to have happened. Like they've gone back to the beginning of when they first walked through the door.
Yeah, I think so. It feels like that, yeah.
Yeah, because she calls him brilliant and a coward and a brilliant coward. You know, she's like, oh, you're the best surgeon ever. You just need to, you know, it's not your fault that the girl died on your table. It's not your fault. It wasn't anybody's fault. Sometimes people just die. Is that supposed to be a commentary on something?
I'm going to say no, because I think that is, again, a storyline from... I mean, that's many storyline from many Grey's Anatomy episodes.
And every hospital thing, someone loses a patient and they their life falls apart.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny. Like I paused it. On their name tags, it does say Dr. S. Winchester and Dr. D. Winchester. So they are actually doctors in there, or and they've used their real names.
Yeah.
As they're walking down a corridor, a man comes out and says, like, my wife needs that face transplant. And Dean's like, you know, none of this is real, pal. Just like get over it. Like your wife doesn't need jack squat. And then they walk away and the guy turns around with a gun and like shoots him in the back. He's like, oh no, this is real, and like goes to the ground.
Which means Dean actually just got shot. Like he just got shot.
He just got shot, yeah.
Yeah. In the heart or just in the back?
Just in the back. I mean, the back of the heart. Maybe it wasn't a very powerful gun because it would have gone through and through, so and it looked like it got stuck.
That's true, yeah.
And Sam's like, no, we need a doctor. It's like, you are one. What's so traumatizing about this next scene is that Dean wakes up while in surgery, essentially.
Yeah, it's weird. This one's weird. Like, yeah. It would make sense if he's just not woken up, I guess, but
yeah, but at the same time, whenever they get shot and stuff, like they don't usually have an anesthesiologist on.
That's true. Yeah.
So they are probably usually awake for any surgeries that they have to do.
Yeah, it's just weird. Like it's just I think it's what the banter, but like it's a weird choice. Yeah.
I kind of wish that we had seen it from Sam's perspective as to like suddenly, because they do a cut like they're in a TV show. So him to suddenly be there with like in surgery and be like, what the hell am I doing?
Like it's appearing like, whoa. Yeah.
But we know it's all about Dean's perspective now. Anyway. So we see Dr. Piccolo is like watching through the glass, like how they do, and she's like being encouraging, and Sam's like, yeah, sure, I know what I'm doing. And he's talking with Dean, saying, I don't know what to do. Like, yeah, and Dean's like, well, I'm dying here. Like, you have to do something. Yeah. So he's basically like, okay, and like there's dramatic music that starts to play, like tugging at your heartstrings, kind of thing. And he starts giving out orders as to what he needs, like for like a motel room surgery. So, like a pen knife, dental floss, sewing needle, and a fifth of whiskey. Who's the whiskey for? I don't know.
Sam, definitely.
Oh yeah. And then he's like, nobody's moving, so he's like, he says stat, like he's not really enjoying it, but you can kind of tell that he is. You see Sam finishing up his surgery and like putting the tools away, and like the Dr. Piccolo is like crying because he's performed surgery, and like says I love you like really exaggeratedly, and he's like, yeah, sure. I think it's funny that they chose a brunette for Sam again.
Yeah, because if she was supposed to be like Dr. Grey, she would have been blonde. So yeah.
And I'm just thinking for the next scene of the game show, being Ruby, being brunette. So we're back to Dean's view, and he's like seeing the feet of the tennis shoes, and they sort of go away, and like there's a flashing on the ground, and suddenly it's a pair of doors, and it opens up, and we're on a Japanese game show.
As somebody who watched quite a few Japanese game shows in their youth, so this one's actually not even that wild.
No, it's really not. Like, of all the shows that I'm honestly surprised, like, they got away with half the shows that they did, because I'm sure people got really injured on those things. Those waivers must be rock solid.
Yeah, I think so, definitely. Yeah, I've watched them recently. I watched one that was like, they have to like run away. It's basically like a big game of tag. You have to like run away from someone, and if you like survive a certain amount of time, you like win loads of money. And there's one on Netflix at the moment where they have like celebrities on, and they're doing this like whole game. They have better games in Japan.
So they're gonna play a Nutcracker. Yeah. So the host turns to Sam and asks him a question. What was the name of? And it's all in Japanese. I'm not even going to try to say the question in Japanese because I will embarrass myself. He says, "What was the name of the demon you chose over your own brother?" And Sam's like, He does the really American thing of like when they don't understand somebody, or I guess it's everybody, but I feel like as Americans who do it a lot, if they don't understand somebody, they just talk louder. It's He's like, I don't understand Japanese. And like Sam and Dean are like look at each other like really, really confused. So the host repeats the question, and he's like, "Is he screwing with me? I can't speak Japanese." Yeah. And the timer goes to 0 because he has 20 seconds to answer.
Ruby! I'm sorry, Sam Winchester.
Sorry? Sorry for what?
And the pole comes up and cracks his nuts. And there's like a replay of different angles.
Which they do a lot, again, in Japanese TV shows. They do a lot of different angles. The only thing they're missing from this that would make it really authentic is they don't have like the screen within the screen of other people watching the TV show, so you see their reactions, because that's always on the game shows.
And like the sort of on-screen graphics.
Yeah.
Like they would have more like flashy stuff like that. So this is one thing that I guess maybe on American TVs they didn't show, but I guess they go into like commercial breaks, like how they do in like YouTube videos and stuff. They have like a speaking ad for these like shrimp chips, which I'm sure are actually, I was gonna say exactly the same thing. It cuts as this commercial is being read out. It cuts back to Dean, and he's like asking Sam if he's all right, and Sam looks just completely winded.
It's not okay.
He is not okay. The door starts to flash again, and Cass walks through.
I just need to talk for a second. Cass in this episode looks the best Cass ever looks. Oh my god. I don't know what they did to Misha in this episode. It's the lighting.
Yeah, they like lit him up.
Properly. This is my main gripe with Supernatural. They never lit Misha Collins properly in this show, because when they do, that's what. Yeah, he looks the best he's ever looked in this episode.
So his entire body, yes.
Yeah.
But when they do close-ups and it's dark, and like you can really like when his eyes turn really blue.
Yeah.
Yes, please. I guess what it is because usually you don't really see like Misha's form very much because he's got like a suit and a trench coat. So like when you don't light it properly, you can't see everything. But like he looks really trim in this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, he does. He looks good.
But Cass basically is there to say like, hey, think about this. Like this is too strong to be a trickster. I don't think this is really who he is. He tries to drag him out of the show, but then gets like staticked away.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're in heaven?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Just because I don't think
Cass will be able to get back.
No, I don't think that anyone else has awareness that Gabriel is about.
Okay. Yeah. And also it makes sense that they're in a warehouse, so he can make a warehouse look whatever he wants. So yeah. So the host comes back. I'm guessing the host is the trickster in this.
Yes, I think so too. Yeah, it's definitely.
Yeah. He's like, no, Mr. Trickster doesn't like pretty boy angels. That's the first clue that, like, why would he know that Cass was an angel?
That's so true. Yeah, you're right.
So he pulls out another card and he asks Dean the question: would your mother and father still be alive if your brother was never born? This is the moment that I was like, damn. Like, you know, the last question of like, who did you pick over your brother was kind of one thing, and then like, would your parents still be alive if your brother was never born? Like, that's a horrible thing to anyway.
What I do love about this is, like, as the timer is ticking down, like, Dean is looking at, like, his feet, and then he's looking at the thing, and he's, like, working out his head is like he hasn't realised before that moment that he's also going to get hit in the nuts.
You could also... maybe I didn't pay attention, but I feel like the nutcracker of Sam's looks like a solid, like, bowling ball.
Yeah, it's like padded on the end. It's like a big, I don't know.
But when you look at the one in front of Dean, it looks like a spray painted, like, football.
Oh, it probably just is.
So I'm just wondering if, like, I don't know. I'll go back and watch it one more time just to see if they like made it look worse for Sam than they did for Dean.
You said everything else is worse for Sam in this movie. Yeah. Probably getting shot.
I played a doctor. I operated. So I played the role the trickster wanted me to play. Maybe we should have to go along with it. Go along with what? With the game.
Quite literally. And he's like, so answer the question. He's like, in Japanese. He's like, well, I don't know any Japanese. He then answers in Japanese. I love the way he's like, oh, panic, hits a button. He's like super serious. And then he's like, Soru? It's great. Yeah. And then Dean wins.
Dean Winchester, Nutcracker champion.
So, you know, it's again Sam brings it. So that's it. We play our roles, we survive. And as Dean's like, yeah, but for how long? And says, that's a good question. And he like, Dean grins and waves.
Like at an audience.
Yeah. Smile and wave, boys. Smile and wave.
So I love when TV shows do this. I can count on my hand the amount of shows have done their own commercials. And I love it every time they do. Like, I can't think of another one right now. There are definitely other ones. But so we go to a commercial break. And obviously, like, at the beginning, I would have loved to have watched this live because it would have looked like
an actual,
like legit for a second. Because there's like a woman that you've never seen before, like doing yoga. She's like, I've got genital herpes.
That would be the giveaway.
Yeah.
Because they usually don't actually say the disease that they have. Like this, the person speaking over that usually does it, the voiceover.
Yeah, I mean, for people who live in America, they don't do these adverts here. Like in the UK, because we don't have advertisements for anything other than painkiller. You do have painkiller like commercials, like paracetamol, ibuprofen, like Nurofen stuff, but not for anything else because we get stuff on the NHS. They don't have to advertise them because you don't pay for them. I always think it's
Right.
wild because like that, like it does in this, like the voiceover is like, oh yeah, you could literally die taking this, but like everyone's smiling in the background. It's so weird.
Yeah, it's
So yeah, they go through a whole like normal, I guess, one of these commercials where they show people like talking about it and like doing different sports, except like the men playing basketball like suddenly is like Sam. and like in the background and Sam's like, seriously, it's quite funny. And Dean's in the background like, you're the one who said play our roles, and like dunks a basket. And Sam's like, I've got genital herpes. And it like cuts through everyone and saying like how this works and talking about how herpexia can help with it. The voiceover is Dean as well. Maybe this is when he knew he wanted to get into voice acting work, right? This kind of stuff.
mm-hmm.
And so yeah, he says like the possible side effects include headache, diarrhea, permanent erectile dysfunction, thoughts of suicide, and nausea, which is actually pretty like standard voiceover as well. Like they could be taken out of any commercial.
I am doing all I can to slightly lessen the spread of genital herpes. And that's a good thing.
He looks so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Love it.
But then he like gets right into the game afterwards. Like
Yeah, he does. He plays his role. He does it well.
Mm-hmm.
You think Sam wouldn't be too bothered? I feel like Sam, like he's just had chlamydia. So like...
I know. I thought about that too when like this came up. It's 2 episodes in a row, man.
You think he would be fine with it? Oh, come on, Sam. Like, lessen the stigma.
Do you know what's really funny?
Mm-hmm.
That witch, the witch from that episode could have literally just taken the chlamydia away from him. Like,
Yeah.
if they'd asked.
Yeah. But no, he didn't.
No. Mm-mm. He did beat him in the game as well. Like,
Yeah.
I beat your game.
Come on. Like, do I really have to go to the STI clinic?
It's not, because that's on his like health record now.
Yeah. Not that there's any shame. You should go get checked. No. This is it. But also, why are you being such a prude about this, Sam? Just go with it. It's fine.
It's like, there's literally no one else there's no one there to see it.
Yeah, it's literally just for that one. I guess I don't know that no one else is seeing it. I mean, it would be funny if, like, the Chicks was just broadcasting this onto the TVs in the local area, you know?
That would be hilarious. What would be even funnier is if, like, Crowley or someone, like, brought it up.
Or, like, Bobby. Like, he's stuck at home. Even though he's not going out and doing anything. So he's just, like, channel surfing. And then he sees them on the TV doing ads for genital herpes.
That's how Cass found him.
Yes! Let's go with that. That's totally the thing. Like, what are they doing on there? Bobby Rang was like, I've seen them on the TV show. Like, Bobby wouldn't admit to watching Dr. Sexy, but that's where he originally saw them. Then he saw them later in the commercial, and that's when he rang us.
Exactly.
Yeah, we go back to the original sitcom that we saw at the beginning of the show. And because obviously there was an actual commercial break there when it was aired on TV, I believe. And Dean's like, we now return to Supernatural. And it goes straight back into like, son of a bitch. Sam ushers the woman out of the door that was there. And it's like, look, we have work to do. Which is quite funny. And the woman's like, oh, we did do work in depth. Ugh. We finally see them like break from these characters that they've been playing, and they're like gritted teeth, like smiling. Dean's like, how long do we have to keep doing this? And Sam's like, I don't know. And everyone's clapping. And they're saying like, maybe forever, like laughing. And there's like the laugh track happening too. I love, there's something, and I don't know why this hasn't been gift more, because I feel like Sam with a big smile on his face saying, we might die here, is just like this... the essence of Supernatural.
Yeah.
And Dean just says like, how was that funny, vultures? And then the door opens and it's Cass, and he's got like a bloody nose, like the top of his nose is bloody. again, looking fine. And he's like,
I got out.
From where?
Listen to me. Something is not right. This thing is much more powerful than it should be.
and Dean's like, what, the trickster? And Cass says, no, if it is a trickster. So he hasn't actually figured out what's going on, but he knows it's not a trickster. And then he suddenly gets like flung backwards and his mouth is duct taped.
Right.
Misha does such a good job in this because as soon as like the trickster appears, like,
Oh, thank you.
his eyes, like, you can tell he knows. You can just tell, like, you can see Cass like clock the trickster and be like, that's what's going on. And he's like shocked. Yeah.
I mean, by the sounds of it, at this end of this episode, they probably will presume he was dead.
Yeah, I think they all thought he was dead. So, yeah, I think that's why he looked so, like, mad and confused, like Cass in this, and did such a great job. And the
I definitely saw, like, betrayal.
Yeah, which is, like, you're acting from here. I'm covering your mouth. So the trickster even says, like, hi, Castiel, and then, like, disappears him again in static. Sam, ever the smarty, it's like, you know him? And that's when Sam's wheels have started turning, I think.
Yeah.
And Dean's like, where did you send him? Typical, like, where's Cass? Reaction. And the trickster says, like, he'll live, maybe. So they're done. Like, Dean is done with him. He's like, I'm done. Like, what's your game? We've been playing your roles. Like, who knows how long they've been there? Because when Cass appeared in the game show, he said they've been missing for days. Even though we know they just went to the hospital and then to the game show, like, that was an immediate transfer. So time seems to work differently here as well.
I mean, and also at the beginning of this episode, it said 2 days earlier, so I don't take stock in any of their time, whatever. Does Cass even know what time is? I don't know.
You know, they're like, we figured it out. We've got to play our roles. Like, we're doing it. Like, now what? And the trickster's like, well, that's only half of it. You know, you've got to play your roles out there.
What's that supposed to mean?
You know. Sam starring as Lucifer. Dean starring as Michael. Your celebrity death match.
And Sam's kind of shocked. He's like, you want to say yes to these sons of bitches? And the trickster's really on board. He's like, yeah, you know, let's light this candle. And, you know, whose fault was it that the world's going to end? Like, who popped Lucifer out the box? It started. You started it. It can't be stopped. Let's get it over with. And he's actually, like, getting, like, mad by the end of this. Dean asks what side he's on, and he's like, I'm not on either side.
And I believe that.
I believe that too. Yeah, definitely. And it does make sense. Again, with the conversation they have at the end. Like, that he wouldn't want either side to win or lose. And, you know, Dean doesn't believe him. He's just like, well, you have to work for one of them. And he properly, like, gets up, like, to him and is like, no, like, I don't work for either of those SOBs. Like, believe me. And then Dean just says, oh, you're somebody's bitch. It's like, why are you taunting a cosmic entity? Like, stop, man.
Well, he has a way with them. You know, you think about his interaction with Raphael, you know, a couple episodes ago. It's very much the same attitude.
Kath learned it from him. But, you know, that line that he comes back from the empty is like, why annoyed so much to send me back. He learned that from Dean.
Yep.
From watching him wind up. Like Eldritch horrors. So, yeah, the trickster, like, grabs Dean and slams him into a wall and says, like,
You're gonna suck it up, accept your responsibilities, and play the roles that destiny has chosen for you.
and Sam's like, well, and what? Or what?
Or what? Such a little brother response.
It's so true. And it's just like, well, you'll stay here forever then. Like 300 channels and nothing's on. He like snaps his fingers. Which also, I feel, should have been a clue. Zachariah does that, right?
Mm-hmm. They all do.
A clicker, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think we said that before. And Zachariah has powers on par with this.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yes. He just can't create a whole world. He can manipulate the world that he's in.
Yeah.
He just can't create, well,
the time...
future world.
Yeah, well, did he really travel? We know angels can travel in time. So was it actually we had that conversation. Like, was it actually time travel? Probably. Yeah.
Paradox.
Oh, it hurts. No.
Let's not go back there.
So we go to CSI Miami, like that's what it is. So there's a man on the ground with a stomach wound, and there's like crime scene stuff all around him, and like Sam and Dean are there, and they're like matching suits and sunglasses, and Dean's like, "Come on!"
That was such a good impression.
And they ask him what they think, and like Dean's like, "I think go screw yourself." But Sam kind of takes him aside and is like, "Look, you've got to calm down." This is the line, they always quote this to Dean like it's a famous one, and I never remember that he says it, but now I always think about it when I do put on my sunglasses. Because he's like, "Calm down, I'm wearing sunglasses at night. You know who does that? No talent douchebag." Which I feel like is making a dig at the actors there a little bit.
I hate that we're in a procedural cop show, and you want to know why? Because I hate procedural cop shows.
It's like 300 of them on the television, and they're all the freaking same. Oh, look, plane crash here. Oh, shut up. But he's right. When this was airing, like there was CSI Miami, there's like CSI New York. There was like CSI Florida. Was that one too?
That's
no,
Miami.
that is Miami. There was another one. Las Vegas. The thing is, like, they also do kind of live a procedural cop show. Like they
absolutely are.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he hates them.
Because he lives one.
Yeah.
With just a supernatural twist.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. The only one I wish that they should have done X-Files. They should have done it. They should have just gone for it and done it. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe it was too close.
Yeah, I guess so. Not far enough away for it to be funny. Mm-hmm. So Sam notices something and like takes off his sunglasses too, and there's a police officer like eating a lollipop, and he's like, "Oh, do you think that's him?" And Sam's like, "Just follow my lead." I love this so much. They turn and it's like, yeah. This like swagger walk that they both do is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like it's like
they secretly both want to be at a show like that. Let's just be real. Like, so they could do this walk.
I mean, Jared does do Walker now.
Yeah, he does. But I can't tell you how uncomfortable I feel seeing both of them with basically the same haircut now.
Yeah.
It's like, but like, yeah, I don't know why it makes me uncomfortable, but it does.
It's so true. Because like for years, it was like they had the Sam haircut and the Dean haircut, and now they're like, it's both wear their hair like that. Yeah, it's odd. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they do the whole thing, and they like kneel down next to the body, and like Dean takes off his sunglasses after just putting them on, which is they do that. Mm-hmm. And you know, they're like, well, you know, what's going on? And the guy had a roll of quarters jammed down his throat. So Sam says, "Well, I say jackpot."
Because that's exactly what he said. I don't know why that actor or the script writers were like, "Well, I say." Because he says that in the show. And it's so wild that this is what he says. And like, this pun after pun on a pun just gets me. Every
great.
Time.
I feel like this one was the one they had most fun with. Like the most fun, like taking the mick out of like... out of the actors who are in those crime shows. So there's like a stab wound. So like Dean picks up a stick and starts poking the body with it to like get the blood on it. Which I know why he's doing it, but it's also like hilarious. And like acting seriously with crime scenes, just poking the body with a stick. Mm-hmm. And Dean says like, "I say no guts, no glory." Like the like police officers like really enjoying it. They like put their sunglasses back on again as well as they're like doing these like quips. Mm-hmm. Sam kind of like keeps doing them, and they're like,
"Get that guy on.
Tums. Gutter ball.
A good one, guys.
Dean like creeps behind him and then like suddenly stabs him with the stick. And if they do the thing again that they do in like CSI where it shows the stick like penetrating his like heart.
Mm-hmm.
And then like no one cares. Nothing happens. But there's another policeman just like laughing and like he becomes the trickster again. He's like, you got the wrong guy, idiots. So it's clearly just a setup.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think? No. The trickster just manifests people, right? He doesn't like taking in the town or whatever. Like they didn't just like kill a dude.
No, because when the TV set's over, it's just them.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, you're right. Absolutely right. So yeah, he's like, you got the wrong guy, idiots. And Dean's like, did we? And then Sam like stabs him from behind again. Good plan. Good bluff, guys. You did well.
Yep.
And then there's a static thing, and then we can see them inside the warehouse, and the gritty supernatural filters back, and the trickster's on the floor with a stake, and they're all back to normal, and everything's okay.
And everything's okay.
Yeah.
So we're then back at the motel, or in a motel, and it's almost like the Winchester face wash, but he's brushing his teeth.
Yeah.
And they're worried about Cass. Well, he's worried about Cass, and he calls out to Sam, and it's an empty room, and he's like goes outside looking for him, and he's on the phone, and he sits into the Impala, and he's leaving a message.
Where are you?
I don't know. Oh, crap. I don't think we killed the trickster.
And then the Knight Rider soundtrack starts to play, and I'm assuming the reason why they can play it is because it's no longer copyrighted because it's been long enough. Maybe?
I think so, yeah. Or they would have paid some royalty to like get the 30 seconds they used.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I love this because the shots of like Dean driving the Impala, he's like so serious about it. Like it's so good.
Well, you know he secretly wants to be David Hasselhoff as well.
I mean,
like I'm pretty sure he modeled his behavior around David Hasselhoff.
yeah, the Knight Rider thing, like this is cool to Dean, right?
Yeah.
There was something very reminiscent of Baby in this as well. You know, the episode Baby, just because of the way they shot it. I think they must have used some of this as like a little template because it was great. I really liked it.
Yeah, it was really good. So they're having a conversation, and Sam, being a clever boy, has started to put things together with what Cass had said. And Dean also points out that, you know, it looked like Cass sort of knew who it was as well. The fact that the trickster got pissed off when they had mentioned Michael and Lucifer, and Dean has figured it out.
Yeah.
They're then just sort of like a park. And Dean is in the back of in the trunk, and they didn't need to, so this is a Jeremy Carver thing.
Yeah,
but at least it was at the expense of Sam and Dean, so like I don't really mind it too much because he says like Sam's like Dean. That feels really uncomfortable. And then he like, when Dean slams the trunk closed.
Ow.
I don't know why that ow is the funniest thing this whole episode. It's like, ow. There's no like emotion behind it. It's like, it's so good. I don't know why the ow is like, great.
Yeah. And he's questioning whether it's going to work. And Dean's like, well, we have no other ideas, so we just have to like go with it. And he starts to shout out to Gabriel, hey, the first time an angel call actually worked.
Right.
Should I honk?
He got funny as the car.
Right? It's like Sam's so done. He's like, I'm a car now. Like, what? This is the worst thing that possibly happened to me. Like, I'm giving up.
So then the trickster appears and he says, wow, Sam, get a load of your rims, which is really gross. Really gross. And so he says, you ready to go quietly? And he's like, hang on. We're not going anywhere unless Sam's got opposable thumbs.
What's the difference? Satan's gonna ride his ass one way or another.
But he does. He turns Sam back into a human.
Mm-hmm.
And Dean asks, why didn't the stake kill you? Trickster's like, well, I am a trickster. And he's like, maybe you're not. And Sam throws the lighter and the angel fire, or the holy oil, catches on fire.
Yeah.
And Dean sort of taunts him, says, tell you what, you jump out of that holy fire and we'll call it our mistake. And then it becomes reality and they're just sort of standing around. He's impressed that they've managed to trap him. And he said, where did I screw up? And Sam's like, you didn't. Nobody can get the jump on Cass like you did. Which is kind of interesting because Alistair did.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's true, actually.
So they could have been dealing with a demon this whole time.
Yeah, you're right, actually. They could have been. I guess they haven't seen a demon use reality-bending powers like this, though. But they have seen angels do it.
You're right. Yeah. And also the reaction to Michael and Lucifer is also what gave it away.
Yeah. And they do call that out, actually, as well,
I'll call it personal experience. Nobody gets that angry unless they're talking about their own family.
Sam's like, which one are you, grumpy, sneezy, or douchey?
I love this. He was so dumb by the end of this episode. I love snarky Sam. We need more of snarky Sam.
Yes. Turn him into a car more often.
Yeah. Clearly good for him.
Yeah. And now we can finally start calling him Gabriel.
Oh, man, yes, please.
Though I think we have in the past anyway. So.
Oh, definitely. 100%.
So, yes, it's Gabriel. He's like, the Archangel Gabriel? Guilty. He explains why he became a trickster. He says, my own personal witness protection. I skipped out on heaven, had a face transplant, carved out my own little corner of the world till you two screwed it all up. Dean asks about God, what does he have to say about this all? And Gabriel's like, well, he doesn't say anything. Sam wants to know why he ditched heaven, and Dean doesn't kind of let him answer that. He says, do you blame him? I mean, his brothers are heavyweight douche nozzles. The insults thrown around in this episode are pretty good.
Yeah, I quite like them. It's quite juvenile.
Yeah, it really is. Gabriel gets really upset by that. He says, shut your cake hole. You don't know anything about my family. I loved my father and my brothers.
But watching them turn on each other, tear at each other's throats, I couldn't bear it.
I will say this, Richard Spike brings just such nuance to this character. He's such a good actor.
He really is.
He really is, because he can, in this episode he does the whole funny goofy thing, but when this scene where he goes really serious is so good.
Yeah.
And you do suddenly start seeing him as an angel, in a very powerful angel, rather than whatever the trickster is doing, just kind of being silly,
goofy.
And, yeah.
And it's also in this episode, the way that they lit everybody in this episode was really well done, because his eyes look golden.
I mean, he does have really nice coloured eyes.
Legit, I was like, he has gold eyes. Yeah. This is what, and it's not contact lenses.
No.
It's actually his eye colour. Yeah. It's absolutely wild.
It's good. It's good. Yeah.
It's very good.
I think I saw on the internet once someone described his eyes as sunlight through whiskey.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Now, if I was a writer, I would steal that line. Sam's trying empathetic person is then help us stop it. And he's like, it can't be stopped. I just want it over. I have to sit back and watch my own brothers kill each other. Thanks to you two, heaven, hell. I don't care who wins. I just want it over. Sam's like, well, it doesn't have to be that way.
Sorry. This is a good Sam face you just did. I wish everyone else could see it.
It's the eyebrows. You just pull them up. Triangle, like.
I can't do the triangle.
Gabriel starts laughing and says, "You don't know my family. What you call the apocalypse, I called Sunday dinner. There's no stopping this because this isn't about war. It's about two brothers that loved each other and betrayed each other. You'd think you'd be able to relate." Stab, stab. And this is basically, he's given the exposition dump of like why they were chosen. You know, just think about it. You know, Michael, the big brother, loyal to an absent father. Lucifer, the little brother, rebellious of daddy's plan.
It's your destiny, who's always you. As it is in heaven, so it must be on earth.
The only time that they like quote the Bible.
Yeah.
One brother has to kill the other. Gabriel says, "Why do you think I've always had an interest in you? Because the moment Dad flipped on the lights around here, we knew it was going to end with you, always."
Oh, look, that line is just, it ties everything together. Like, this episode is so important. It's so important.
Do you know what I really hate? Is that we've just had 3 filler episodes where kind of it takes away from that last line that Sam Lucifer said of like, it's always going to end up, we're always going to be here.
Yeah.
So I win. And then it says it's going to end like this. It was always going to end like with you. Always. Like, we've just had this massive remove from that important part. And then you just like casually throw this in. It's just like, ugh, no, don't do this.
I know they go from like the end, you know, like they couldn't do another maybe reality hopping episode like straight away, but it does tie it all together. Like it does, and you wouldn't remember 4 weeks later. You wouldn't remember it. No, not unless you're on like fandom forums where people are discussing this. Like a casual viewer wouldn't get that beat of like, it's always going to end with you. Like, it was always going to end with you. Like, God has a plan for your life. Like, since Gabriel's saying from the beginning of time, everything was leading up to this point. Like, that is huge.
The universe is going to end with you.
Yeah.
That's what he's just said.
Yeah. It's, yeah.
And then it takes 10 years from here to get to there. But anyway. Then Gabriel says this line, which annoys the hell out of me.
I wish this were a TV show. Easy answers, endings wrapped up in a bow.
The thing that really gets me is the last scene in this show is them breaking character and thanking the audience for watching this show.
Oh, God. Yeah. And, like...
So this is what I'm saying with the prediction being wrong. If this was Ben Enland, this line wouldn't be in it.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why this line is in it, because they've already said in this episode that it, you know, Supernatural's not a show, what have you. But, like, this doesn't... I think had they just said it, I wish this was a TV show. If they had taken that out, like said anything else, like having the easy answers, endings wrapped up in a bow, I think is kind of fine. But just that one sentence just made me so mad.
Right? Because ultimately it's not true. Like, it's not true. It is a TV show. Like I said, it is a TV show. It's a TV show for Chuck. And like I know they didn't know where they were going to go with the storyline. But out of anything, this episode ties into all of that, right? So they should have taken this into account when they were writing things later on. And yet it's not called back to.
Right.
That's the thing that annoys me, because you can have lines like this and, you know, oh yeah, this is all actually real, you know, because what this is like them being clever, like, haha, we did the whole TV show. Yeah. But this is actually happening. Like, yeah. But there should have been a callback then when we find out that it is just a TV show. Right. This is so crazy. This show, it breaks down the like barrier between the fourth wall like nothing else I've ever watched ever. Mm-hmm. It makes my head hurt thinking about it. Considering like how this show started on the premise, okay, we're just gonna do like a horror show, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna do a horror show. And then it turns into this like genre defying, like fourth wall breaking, or you're actually watching a TV show, except you're not watching the TV show. Actually, the outside observer is God watching the TV show. But it is a TV show and they do have plot armor, as you know, TV characters would, but they're also aware of it. It's all very confusing.
Yeah.
And then you're right. But then to take that one step further and have that last scene of them thanking the audience is wild.
You know, I'm starting to more and more lean into the fact that Chuck won.
Do you know what it is? It's Shakespearean. Like,
right?
Because they would say at the beginning of the plays, right? I think it's Midsummer's Night Dream. They say, like, everything in this isn't real. We're not going to offend you because you're just seeing a play, right? And then at the end, they reiterate it. I think they do. And they say, like, everything you've seen here was just a farce. It was just a play. Like, you don't need to get upset about it. And that's what they do to Supernatural.
Yeah. Everything else about this episode really enjoyed. Yeah. This one line was just like, obviously at the time it's fine, but it's just remembering how this show actually ends. Because it doesn't end bloody for them all.
Right. Well, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. I mean, Sam dies a quote normal death, right? Mm-hmm. The thing is, when they did the finale, I remember because I watched it on the CW Live. They did a program before the finale about 15 years of Supernatural. So why didn't they just put that last scene of them thanking everybody at the end of that program rather than at the end of the actual show?
You asked the right questions.
Because it was I remember watching it and like my childhood characters have just died. Right? They reunited heaven.
Don't put me back in that headspace.
Where's the angel? I'm still shouting at the TV. Where's the angel? And then it cuts to them on that goddamn bridge from that episode we watched a little while ago. And I was shouting at my TV like, what was that? What was it?
What did I just waste my prime on?
I just tried to watch the episode with my husband who doesn't watch Supernatural. I was like, go and watch a TV show. It's been 15 years. Go watch a fun episode. And then I was so mad and so upset. And he didn't know why.
And now we are here.
I'm reliving it. The emotions have come back and literally have tears in my eyes. Oh, okay. I knew this would bring up some feelings, this episode. Come on. Okay. Right. Let's end this. So they're back, they're in the warehouse, and Gabriel's like, so boys, now what? We stare at each other for the rest of eternity. And Dean, the first thing that he said is like, bring Casper. Where's my boy?
Yeah.
So, this is going to give away when we recorded this. But this is cute, so I need to say it. So, somebody asked Jensen at Crossroads what advice he would give to season 4 Dean. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't know if I can say this without choking up. He said that to trust Cass because he's going to end up being your best friend.
No.
Or something to that. That's very much paraphrasing. Go look it up. But my heart. So Gabriel's like, so am I? And Dean threatens to dunk him in holy oil and deep fry him. so Cass does appear. And Dean's like, are you okay? Are you okay, Cass?
The way that Gabriel reacts to that, do you think that would actually work?
I think it would work. Or would at least hurt a lot.
So why didn't they do that to Michael?
I don't know. I feel like Gabriel's attached to his vessel in a way that Michael's not, and I feel like it would hurt the vessel. Yeah. That's just my, I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And Cass is just like, I'm fine. Hello, Gabriel. He just dismisses Dean. Just like, no, I'm fine. He's so mad. And Gabriel taunts him. He's like, how's the search for Daddy going? Let me guess, awful. And Cass doesn't say anything, but Dean's like, all right, we're out of here. Like, we're leaving. Mm-hmm. And Gabriel is like legitimately worried that they're going to leave him. I mean, eventually that fire will burn out. Like, it's not actually going to take that long. Mm-mm. It's really not.
Because well,
maybe holy oil special.
Maybe it is because the way that the only reason why I'm sure Raphael got out is because he generated a massive storm. Yeah. And he could, destroyed that house so he could get the water in to like put out the fire.
But remember your fire triangle.
Yeah, but this is holy oil. The name is in the name.
It's really holy. So Gabriel,
it's the eternal flame.
You're probably right. The whole like burning bush like thing. This was it, wasn't it? Right? I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
It's like the Olympic torch. It doesn't go out.
Yeah.
So Gabriel's like, "You're just gonna leave me here?" And Dean, the way he says this is like so bitchy. Mm-hmm. That's about. I don't like using the word bitchy, but it is. He's just like, no, we're not. Because we don't screw with people the way you do. And he's like,
this isn't about some prize fight between your brothers or some destiny that can't be stopped. This is about you being too afraid to stand up to your family.
He like pulls the fire alarm and Dean's like, don't say I never did anything for you. And we just get like this kind of like sad, like wet puppy Gabriel, like watching them leave.
What happened to Cass?
No, Cass comes out with them. He goes out first. It goes. I think Cass leaves, and then Sam leaves, and then Dean goes all snarky.
But then he's not in the next scene.
He is a little bit. He's outside the warehouse with them.
Okay,
he is.
I guess I didn't see that.
But I don't think he gets in the car. I can't remember. But anyway, yeah. So they do go out, and they all just sort of stand outside. Like Gabriel doesn't follow them. Like that's finished now. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Cass just kind of stands near the door while Dean and Sam like have a. It is weird.
So I guess he's there to make sure that Gabriel doesn't follow them.
I mean, yeah, but like he also doesn't like get in the car. He comes and like stands outside and then just stands there.
So I'm also trying to think, how did Gabriel know they were in town? Because they're angel proofed. Maybe he was in the police station.
Yeah, well, he lured them there, didn't he, with the Hulk? Right at the beginning. Because they were there because they were investigating that Hulk smash.
So the way I understood it was that they saw the Hulk smash thing, went to go investigate it, and then Gabriel saw that they were there. Not that Gabriel lured the Winchesters to a location. No.
See, I think Gabriel did the Hulk smash thing in order to lure them there.
Oh, so that he could teach them a lesson.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I see it that way too now, yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the Impala's there, and Sam and Dean go to the Impala. Cass doesn't. Again, watch it, it's weird. Dean's like, all that stuff, do you think it was the truth? And Sam's like, I think he believes it. And Dean's like, well, Suno, what do we do? And Sam's like, I don't know. And then it ends with this line. Dean's like, well, I'll tell you one thing. Right about now, I wish I was back in a TV show. And Sam's like, me too. And then the episode just ends.
That could have.
You are, guys.
Could we have not? Yeah. Could we have not just had a conversation between you, Cass, and Dean, like Sam, Cass, and Dean? just the three of them, and like, I don't know, discuss what just happened. Like, was it supposed to always be Destiny, or like have another Destiny discussion? Because this meta commentary just doesn't make sense with the context of like what we know now.
I know. I feel like Carver just likes this kind of stuff. Like if you've watched Doom Patrol, that is also quite meta. And I don't know, I'm guessing that's based on comic books as well, but it is. Maybe he just likes this kind of storytelling.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, the thing is, they already said, "Oh, this is real life, not a TV show." Like they already made that point, and then to make it again at the end is just a bit like, yeah, we get it. It's not a TV show.
Like instead of, I kind of wish that he'd made a reference to one of the shows that they were already on. So like to say maybe like, oh, I wish I was back in Dr. Sexy MD or something.
Yeah. And like also, the French Mistake is in this season, right?
No, it's the next one.
Is it the next one?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's season 6. Because I don't think we get introduced to Balthazar yet.
So I was going to say, like, to have that episode in this season with them saying that would have been so stupid. Yeah, I always get season... The thing is, like, I can never remember what happens in season 6. Like, I'm fully looking forward to... I've said this so many times about all the seasons. Fully looking forward to, like, there's a war, angels, Cass is fully involved, but, like, what's everyone else doing?
So they're trying to get Sam's soul back.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot about Soulless Sam. Okay, that's saying. But yeah,
because he's basically soulless the whole time.
oh, that's a burn.
He loses his ability to do his eyebrows.
Yeah, the triangle, it goes away. It does. I mean, this is the episode, isn't it? Like, it's the one. I love this episode. It lays everything out. It makes really good plot points that are followed up on about them being the chosen, Cain and Abel of Supernatural, etc. We found Gabriel. It was funny. I do love it. This is an excellent episode.
Yeah, definitely. Like, with how well everybody did in this episode, like, well, yeah. I kind of wish there was more of maybe a monologue from Sam in this somewhere. But the thing is, the railing against Destiny is much more on Dean's side. Like, Sam will always accept Destiny.
Yeah, he's a Destiny boy.
He is.
He's a Destiny boy. Yeah. And because we do get that line from Dean, he's the one that says, like, no, no, it's not going to happen. Like, yeah. That's because I said so. I mean, yeah. That is Dean at his core, isn't it? Nah.
Yeah. No, I don't think we will.
Not today. Yeah, I've showed this episode to so many people. I literally, I think, well, like, I could just quote it from start to finish. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love Richard's fight. I wish he was just more Supernatural. Like, his character just doesn't come around enough. Mm-hmm. He's too powerful. That's the problem.
Right.
That's the mistake they made with angels, I feel, in Supernatural, is they immediately made them too powerful. Because it always affected Cass's character. Like, they're constantly having to, like, depower him. Mm-hmm. And it means they can't then ally with any other angels because they have no excuse of, like, them being depowered. So it's like, either you have this, like, huge weapon.
Yeah.
It even happened with Jack, right? They had this, like, really powerful being, and then they immediately had to depower him because how else would they explain not just calling him up in every situation?
I mean, it kind of makes sense that they would be all this like if they thought that it was going to end here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
they are the big bad, basically. So it makes sense that they would be all powerful. So it almost got to a point where Supernatural went on for a little too long.
What? No, it definitely did.
That they couldn't bring in, like, what is more powerful than an angel, and they kind of came up with, like, maybe the empty, but even that didn't really kind of follow up to anything.
No, it had the anime problem. Like, if you ever watched, I always think of Bleach.
Yep.
Right? Where it's like, oh, you're killing, like, actual death. except we need to do another season. So, I mean, this also actually happened in Supernatural. So, like, what's bigger than that? So, yeah.
At least in Supernatural, they had an answer for that. They just made another Reaper death. So it's not like death actually went away.
Yeah. Whereas, like, yeah, in Bleach, it just that is also a show that went on for way too long.
Way too long. Yeah.
Show this one to your friends. Do it. Spread the message of Supernatural to the masses.
It's not a TV show.
It's not just a TV show. It's funny because
It's a way of life.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of is, actually.
It kind of is. We even have our own tattoos, like people literally branded with this show.
I am one of them.
You definitely are. Yeah, I like this one. I enjoy it.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I let go of that line, which I think I can do now that I've talked about it, I could easily watch this a couple more times and be good with it.
I mean, this is what this podcast's all about. You speak your anger and let it go into purgatory.
Exactly. And then there's episodes that I'll willingly go back and watch, and then there's some like the one not last week but the week before that I will never watch again.
Yeah. And it's fun to discover this. Yeah.
Like I don't need to ever know. I would love to purge Jesse from my mind, but that's probably going to stick around for a while.
Don't worry though. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's very, very true. Very true. So we got a fun one next week as well.
Yay!
It's the real Ghostbusters.
Oh yes, mate.
People walking around as Sam and Dean.
Yes, I remember
the
this
convention
one.
episode. Yeah.
Do I like this next episode? I have a mixed opinion on this. I'll be real with you.
Let's see who's going to be in it.
I know everybody. Yeah, I know everybody who's in it.
Yeah. So we're probably gonna go on another Becky tangent. Just so be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Because her behavior doesn't ever improve until season 15. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, it's a commentary on fandom culture that doesn't entirely sit well with me.
There are a considerable amount of men in this convention that happens.
Yes.
But I feel like the one that we went to in England was a pretty good mix of both. It may have been leaning a bit more to like women and female presenting versus men and male presenting.
I would say this next week as well. It's interesting because fandom culture in the UK is quite a bit different, I feel, than it is in the US. And I won't talk about it now. I'll talk about it next week.
Sounds good. Well, and I'll have a think about that as well. Because even the one I went to, like, it was a lot of women. So do you have any other thoughts on this episode? Go watch it again because it's fun.
Yeah, like if you're having a bad day, this is a good episode to watch, I think.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to sit with it for too long. It can just be fun to have on.
Yeah, just fun to have on. I like the lighting. I'm still mad about it, but I like it. Kath looks good. That's my thoughts on this episode.
Nicely done.
So at the end of this episode, I'd like to say thank you to the Pixel Agora and his wonderful artwork on our logo. If you would like a copy of that, you can find it on our Redbubble. I said it weird, but you know what I mean. And if you'd like to come and talk to us, which I know you do, about this episode or any other episode, you can find us at Escaping Purgatory Podcast on nearly all social media, but on Twitter we're Escaping Podcast because we ran out of characters. And yeah, come say hi. We can do polls on Tumblr now. That's new.
On Tumblr?
Yeah. It's a new feature. I'm really excited about it. I want to use it.
Huh. I always thought you could, but I guess not.
No, it's new. Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, look out for me asking dumb questions on Tumblr.
Well, maybe we'll reflect some of those on Spotify, because you can do them on there too.
That's true. Yeah, answer those. I like seeing the answers. People do have really thoughtful answers to our questions. Yeah, I really like it.
So this week we found a TV in the bushes, and did a bit of channel surfing.
Yes.
Hopefully next week we can find our way out.
Bye.
Bye.
That's good. That's good.